Banking hours don't seem to close in the state of Louisiana as Jordan Seaton can name his price, and it looks like the LSU Tigers are the team most willing to pay it. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year-round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. How much would you be willing to pay Jordan Seaton to play offensive tackle for your team? In a pretty shrewd bit of business by Jordan Seaton, the former 5-star and 2-year starter at Colorado entered the transfer portal late when the need for such a player would be highest, and there would be little left in the way of competition because everybody would know what they have and, more importantly, what they don't have. And at his position, there just aren't that many talented people walking the face of the earth. My favorite way of looking at paying for an offensive tackle isn't like looking at paying for a quarterback. Different skill set, different value, different face of the program. My favorite way of looking at an offensive tackle is the way I look at 7-footers in the NBA. Years ago, read a book. It's pretty good. It's called Sports Genes by David Epstein. If you're into sports science, I highly recommend it. As a person who rides a bike 200 miles a week now and, has been running all of my life, 19-minute 5Ks, I'm always interested in the science of sports and just what the body might be predisposed to do, right? So 7-footers in the NBA are like gold. It is why you are willing, if you're an NBA GM, to pay for an unproven product, a really rough player who happens to be 7 feet tall. Why? Because 1 in 12 7-footers on the face of the earth play in the NBA. Now think about that for just a second. 1 in 12 7-footers on the planet play in the NBA. All of the people that play in the NBA who are 7 feet tall are men. That means there's an entire gender over there that just walks around not playing the NBA, but I think we're going to get closer to seeing that. And you see volleyball being the place where most tall women end up, if not basketball, right? I say that to say, if you can find me a 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 330-pound man who is just a little bit nimble, you'll find an offensive line coach that believes he can coach him and turn him into one of the better players in all of the sport. As a matter of fact, if you can find a 6'6", 240-pound nimble man, college age, you're probably going to try to get him into your program, and you can put weight on him. You can't teach him to be taller. Jordan Seaton entered college football as one of the most talented offensive tackles in the sport and played right away as a freshman. He's on a team that finished tied for Big 12 title, Big 12, first place in the Big 12, didn't play for the Big 12 title, and had a Heisman Trophy winner at wide receiver and a 4,000-yard quarterback. The next year, the quarterback situation wasn't great. The Caden Salter experiment failed, and now we have Jordan Seaton entering the transfer portal and taking a visit to Mississippi State, where his former offensive line coach, Phil Loadholt, was and is the offensive line coach at Mississippi State. He's expected to really entertain Miami, but it's difficult for an offensive tackle to entertain a program that doesn't have a quarterback. And that is what Miami's dealing with right now. The Carson Beck season is over, and they have put a lot of stock into Darian Mensah, which is where we expect Mensah to end up. But if he doesn't, still up in the air. And then you have Oregon, who he was supposed to go visit, but now he's not expected to visit Oregon. They're still coming after him. But it feels like the money that LSU is willing to put on the table from Lane Kiffin on down is just unmatched because there are no guardrails for name, image, and likeness or a cap of any kind. I realize some of y'all want a collective bargaining agreement. You can't have a cap without a collective bargaining agreement. Can't have a collective bargaining agreement without a players union. Can't have a players union that's got no teeth. Try putting together a labor force that is that every 5 years turns over and show me who the labor leader is going to be. We got unions for Major League Baseball. We got unions for the NFL. Both of them are sorry compared to the ownership structure. They will fail because it depends on the collective doing what's best for the collective. And you got too many people in every union that are going to do what's best for themselves, probably cross the picket line early so they can put food on the table because they don't give a good damn about the future. They care about right now. And how are you going to convince 18, 19-year-old men to care about the future of other 18 and 19-year-old men who might follow them in 10 years? I submit to you, you cannot. So knowing all of that, what's left right now? So what are you willing to do right now? You're willing to overpay. Do you know why you're willing to overpay? Because you just watched Indy friggin' Anna become the first team to finish 16-0 since 1894. And the first thing that Kurt Cignetti wanted people to say was, get the NIL number out of your mind. We didn't get that much. Aye, dog. But you got more than you got, say, in 2022. You know what I'm saying? You got more than, say, 2021, when the NIL came online. So any money is better, and they're getting better players in India. And if you're LSU, and you watched Ole Miss make the college football playoff, but you did not, and you watched Indiana win the national championship, you feel some kind of way about that. We know this because the governor himself got involved in a Huey Long kind of way to help get not just Brian Kelly fired, but the athletic director fired because he don't like him anyway. Scott Woodward sent on his way. Then said we weren't going to overpay for a head coach. Then it did exactly that. They paid $13.2 million annually to Lane Kiffin on top of the money that they still owed Ed Orgeron, who got his last payment in December, and the money they still owed Brian Kelly. And then they retained Blake Baker, who's one of the best defense coordinators in college football. And then you're paying your roster. And who do you need on your roster? A quarterback. So at the time, the best quarterback available, Sam Levitt. So you're overpaying for him, Arizona State. Now, fine. If it cost us $50 million, and I made that number up, that number's unreported, to put together the roster, we will. So what is Jordan Seaton looking to make if he signs with LSU? Well, the day he entered the portal, he could name the number. It's between $500,000 and $1 million for a good tackle. The number for Jordan Seaton is probably closer to $2 million, which would unofficially make him the highest paid offensive lineman in history. Okay? That number will be surpassed very quickly because yesterday's price is not today's price. The price of brick, as my man Marlowe's saying, is going up. Okay? And for a player like Jordan Seaton on a team like LSU who got to win in 2026 to make themselves look good, you're going to pay it. You're going to find it. Where are you getting it from? I don't know. You know, we got people coming out coming up with money out of their couch cushions all of a sudden. But when I look at a player like Jordan Seaton and I look at what you're willing to pay, 6'5", 330, and second team All Big 12, imagine what you'd be willing to pay a first team All-American who has the gumption to enter the transfer portal late. That is where we are at, ladies and gentlemen. Might be time to empty that 401k. You want to win this national championship, dog.